was once a young fellow who enlisted as a soldier, conducted himself bravely, and was always the foremost when it rained bullets. So long as the war lasted, all went well, but the peace was made. He was received his dismissal, and the captain said he might go where he liked. His parents were dead, and he had no longer a home, so he went to his brothers and begged them to take him in and keep him until war broke out again. The brothers, however, were hard-hearted and said, "What can we do with you? You are no use to us. Go and make a living for yourself." Soldier, nothing left but his gun, he took out his shoulder and went forth into the world. He came into a wide heath, on which was to be seen but a circle of trees. Under these he sat sorrowfully down and began to think over his fate. "I have no money," thought he. "I have learned no trade but the fighting now that they made peace. They don't want me any longer, so I see beforehand that I shall starve." All at once he had heard a rustling, and when he looked round, a strange man stood before him, who wore a green coat and looked right stately, but he had a hideous cloven foot. "I know already what you are in need of," said the man. "Gold and possessions you shall have, as much as you can make with. Do what you will, but first I must know if you are fearless, that I may not bestow my money in vain." A soldier and fear, how can those two things be put together? "You can put me to the proof." "Very well, then," answered the man. "Look behind you." The soldier turned round and saw a large bear, which came growling towards him. "Oh," cried the soldier, "I will tickle your nose for you, so that you shall soon lose your fancy for growling." He aimed at the bear and shot it through the muzzle, fell down, and never stirred again. "I see quite well," said the stranger, "that you are not wanting in courage, but there is another condition which you will have to fulfill, if it does not endanger my salvation," replied the soldier. "Who?" "Beware," said the second. "Bears like sweet things, and if it takes a fancy to you, he will eat you up. You must always do as he likes," began the elder again, "or else he will growl." And the second continued, "But the wedding will be a merry one, for bears dance well." The bride was silent and did not let them vex her. Bearskin, however, traveled about the world from one place to another, did good where he was able, and gave generously to the poor that might pray for him. At length, at his last day of the 7 years dawned, he went once more out onto the heath, seated himself beneath the circle of trees. More onto the heath. It was not long before the wind whistled, and the devil stood before him and looked angrily at him. Then threw Bearskin his old coat and asked for his green one back. "He have not gone so far that yet," answered Bearskin. "You must first make me clean." Whenever the devil liked it or not, he was forced to fetch water and wash Bearskin, comb his hair, cut his nails. After this, he looked like a brave soldier. It was much more handsomer than he had been before. When the devil had gone away, Bearskin was quite light-hearted. He went into the town, put a magnificent velvet coat, seated himself in a carriage drawn by 4 white horses, and drove to his bride's house. No one recognized him. The father took him for a disgusted general and led him into the room where his daughters were sitting. He was forced to place himself between the 2 eldest. They helped him to wine, gave him the best pieces of meat, and thought that in all the world that they have seen the handsomer man. The bride, however, sat opposite to him, in her black dress, and never raised her eyes, nor spoke a word. When at length he asked the father if he would give him one of his daughters to wed, the two eldest jumped up and ran into their bedrooms and put on splendid dresses for each of them face. She was the chosen one. The stranger, as soon as he was alone in the room with his bride, brought out his half of the ring and threw it in a glass of wine, which he reached across the table to her. She took the wine, and that when she began to drink it, she found half the ring lying at the bottom. Her heart began to beat. She got the other half, which she wore on the ribbon round her neck, joined them, and saw that the two pieces fitted exactly together. Then said he, I am your betrothed bridegroom, whom you saw as Bearskin, but through God's grace I have again received my human form, and have one more become clean. He went up to her, embraced her, and gave her a kiss. In the meantime, the two sisters came back in full dresses when they saw that the handsome man had fallen to the share of the youngest, and heard that he was Bearskin. They ran out full of anger and rage. One of them drowned herself in the well. The other hanged herself on a tree. In the evening, someone knocked at the door, and when the bridegroom opened it, it was the devil in his green coat, who said, You see, I have now got two souls in the place of your one.